Okay, so what we need to do now is to build the classifier for the core interfaces. There's another classifier which is related to a particular customer C3, but this is the classifier that's looking at all of the scheduling that we've set up and attached to the core interfaces. So obviously we're going to need to define one for DSCP, one for EXP. These are behavioral aggregate classifiers because it's not a firewall filter. We're not going into the header and really inspecting it. We're just looking at those code points, the EXP, the DSCP. So what we're doing here, we're going to classify it. We select the forwarding class. I've put just the top one on here. And the same with the EXP, we select the forwarding class, and I've just selected the top one. It is worth noting that within a forwarding class, you can set the loss priority low and high, and then you have further options. And at the top, you can see here the loss priority was low, code point BE, you could have had loss priority high, etc. Then what we need to do with the classifier is attach it to the core interfaces. We're going to do that in a very similar way to the way that we did the scheduler here in the ping. Now, in our particular examples, Gigabit Ethernet 004 actually is pretty much all of the WAN connections between all of the routers because of the way that they've been physically built. So this isn't just one connection, it's multiple. Obviously, we're going to need a wildcard here on the unit. And if you remember with the scheduler, there's just this extra command here that allows the per unit scheduler. So best not forgotten. It's on the previous screen. It's on the top right hand side of the board, but just reminding us of it there. And then that's it. That's the classifier that fits on the core interfaces. Now the next thing we need to do is take a look at the rewrite. Okay, so the next part of these core interfaces is that we need to build the rewriter. Now why would we be rewriting? Well, let's imagine that on the on a class of service boundary on your network on the edge, you'd done a firewall filter and you'd sort of effectively done a deep packet inspection or a firewall filter inspection of the header of the traffic that's coming in. And the Juniper will write that, as we can see here, into the forwarding class and the packet loss priority. Now obviously once we've done that, if we then rewrite that into those DSCP EXP values as that packet is leaving the interface, then the next router won't have to do a firewall filter lookup and can do a behavioral aggregate simple monitoring of those DSCP EXP type values. And that is why we rewrite packets. So here's the rewriter. It's almost identical to the classifier. I've literally taken the phrase classifier out here and the name of the classifier, DSCP classifier, and corrected it to DSCP rewriter, and it really is the same. And this is how we enabled the classifier onto the interfaces. I've done it down here so that you can see both the scheduler on the interfaces, the classifier, and the rewriter. It's just a quick note about packet loss priority. Why are we storing both the forwarding class and the packet loss priority? And the answer is a little bit subtle. Let's imagine that we were out of band on a particular stream of traffic. So for one reason or another, this traffic needs to be either buffered or filtered or policed. So that traffic, if that's marked in the forwarding class that it's sort of out of band, then it would go into perhaps a less attractive queue. And as the traffic flows through the box, it may well get delayed. Traffic coming after it, let's say after a burst had finished, could end up ahead in a better queue and traffic could arrive out of order. So if we have a policer or some other mechanism that identifies traffic as being out of the band that it should be in, if it marks it with a packet loss priority, then random early detection can actually pick that up and discard that traffic, but not push it out of order. And that's why we both have the forwarding class and the packet loss priority operating on the same data.